After 400 years since the ship appeared on the horizon near Point Comfort, a point in the English colony of Virginia, the American education system does not and will not recognize the shameful truth which lays the foundation from which we experience race in America today. The American education system does not, never has, and does not intend to prioritize the teaching of the history of slavery, period, or the ideas of race and racism, period. Now, because of this, the sheer lack of knowledge of the economic and political achievements of black people are a large degree non-existent in school, which includes state-mandated assessments, and for some of us, honors and courses, and which they never learn about things like Black Wall Streets, black inventions, or black theories, etc. As a result, many of us go through our school careers racially illiterate and suffer extreme discomfort when talking about race. So we either water it down to keep the peace or try to kumbaya our way out by saying, race doesn't exist? Look, the roots of race and racism in America go back to 1619, when that first ship arrived at the colony of Virginia. And since then, America has built a system of racism that acts upon every aspect of society and involves our lives every day. It's necessary to take a critical step back and recognize how American society has entrenched white supremacy deep into our collective psyche, and our lack of exposure to how oppressive systems work makes it pretty easy to buy into the idea of white meritocracy, or a fictional, fake-ass narrative that's often a tool of white supremacy. Now, black people in our schools and workplaces have been put down by attributing their presence, their very existence sometimes, to affirmative action to maintain some sense of false superiority. And we also recognize that the historical racial structures within American society have rooted a kind of affirmative action for white people in every aspect of life. Now, as we consider our own experiences, studying the experience of others can help us better to see our false notion of success that coincides with someone else's oppression. Now, we've been socialized in a system that kind of privileges racial illiteracy. It's been proven throughout history that you can reach the highest office of this land without demonstrating a true understanding, not that some would care, some would say concern, of race and racism, or how policy continue to increase the racial wealth gap. You stand before black students and measure their intelligence or how well you can recite and recall some history that's not even theirs, and speaking a language that's not even spoken by their ancestors. You want to be race neutral? That ain't an option. Not in a country founded on genocide and the enslavement of millions. Now, anti-racism work is difficult and painful, but so is the history of marginalizing black people in America who will not be free until the system of white supremacy is dismantled. Now, to eliminate and reteach whitewashed curriculum that it was taught most of our lives and to relearn the history of our country would be considered by some, if not most, revolutionary. But hell, this country was born on revolution. Did not revolution against British policing of the American colonies lead to modern-day America? Did not revolution against French colonialism in Haiti lead to the first black-led republic? And did not revolution against segregationists in South Africa lead to the end of apartheid? Look, man, the need for revolution is going to stay just as strong as today, as long as the conditions that caused the American Revolution still stand. And they do. Now, as black people, we only make up 13% of this damn country's population, but we've consistently forced America to actualize its founding promises. The Civil Rights Movement, at least to some degree, demonstrated that the rights of oppressed people could be advanced through organized social and political action, laying the foundation for advancing women's rights and LGBTQ rights. Some won't admit that, but that's the truth. So here's my thing. If you're going to teach or learn or even discuss this critical race theory, you have to start at the foundation of why it's being taught in the first place. It's another decade in the 2000s, and if America won't even acknowledge our achievements and what it's done to a people that built this country, this discussion, that is what's primarily critical race theory, is just another way to kick the can down the road in place to solidify more laws to distract black folks to eliminate the stranglehold contributing to what I call the final solution to the Negro problem. Look, man, white supremacy is not a theory, and anti-black racism is not a theory. Stop trying to change the damn narrative and change the system instead. Understand this. Critical race theory is a graduate school subject. It's not taught to elementary or high school kids. What people are mainly complaining about is teaching plain old basic American history. And plain old American history has to include the history of slavery. Hell, the kids graduating nowadays know more about how to put a condom on a cucumber than world events. Bottom line is this. You claim you want to teach critical race theory? You claim you want to learn about critical race theory? You got to teach the foundation of what this country has been built upon. White supremacy. Repeat, America was founded on white supremacy. The nation's founders believed in white supremacy, and they weren't ashamed to say so. 40 of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence owned slaves. Under the Constitution, a slave only counted as 3/5 of a human being. 10 of the first 12 presidents owned slaves. This is who we were as the United States became a nation. And to not teach that is just another hypocritical, disingenuous, pseudo-intellectual, masturbatorial distraction to act as if they care.